Now then, welcome back to the George Scaife channel. The Premier League fixtures have been released. Today we're going through the first five, Liverpool's first five fixtures, going through each game individually. How hard is it going to be? How many points do I expect us to pick up? A lot of people saying it's a brutal start. I really don't think it is, by the way. And we need to chill out with our summarising this and analysing this. People saying, well, Newcastle's such a tough game. I don't want to go there. Yeah, I don't want to go to St James's Park. But you've got to go there at some point. You can't just avoid it. Oh my God, you can't pull a sickie. You've got to go there at some point. I'd rather go there now as opposed to in May, as opposed to in December when you got a game every 2 or 3 days. I just think this is a perfect time to go to St James's, one of the toughest grounds to go to, maybe not in the world. I'll refrain that to the UK, certainly. And then Arsenal at home, similar kind of things apply. Let's just start. And by the way, we're going to look at the big problem, in my opinion, we may have or may face, maybe restricting us from not just winning these games or getting results, but performing well. I think there's one thing that could hold us back. Newcastle away. Let's start with Bournemouth. I mean, let's start chronologically, George. Oh my word! And subscribe if you are new around here, please. Bournemouth at home. I hate this word formality. It's like, oh, you're a big club fan. You're a big club, but it is true. Bournemouth at home. You should not even be looking at on the calendar. I'm a big snooker fan, and I'm a big fan of Stephen Hendry. Stephen Hendry won the world 7 times world champion, right? He never even used to look at the first 2 rounds. Whoever he was facing, he never looked at in Worlds. He would always look, who am I going to get in semis? Who am I going to get in final? Because there was such a formality to him. He would just like, bang, I'm just going to beat these. That's how it should look. And it sounds terrible. But I'm sorry, if you want to win the league, if you're going for 90 points, that's your aim, you've got to be doing Bournemouth at home. A Bournemouth side, by the way, who we beat twice last year. A Bournemouth side, by the way, who we've just taken one of their best players. A Bournemouth side, by the way, I'm watching against Al Hilal now, Real Madrid. Huijsen's playing their best player last season. It looks like Sabani's gone to PSG. You've got a battered Bournemouth side who've just lost 3 of their back 4. I think it's not a stupid statement to say we should be winning that game. It should be a formality, or as close to a formality as it gets. With no doubt, Bournemouth can beat any team on the day, as shown last year. Iriola's good and playing, and actually going at home with Bournemouth kind of pressing you and starting the season with that or facing that Bournemouth press is probably a tough one, and it could catch you out, definitely. They caught teams out last year. Arsenal and City got a result against both of them. Not against Liverpool, though. Not against Liverpool. What did we beat them? Was it 3-0 and 2-0? I might be entirely wrong now, but that's what springs to mind. So I think Bournemouth at home, you've got to look past that game. Sorry to Bournemouth fans, by the way. I hope you know what I mean. You entirely probably know what I mean here. Newcastle away, obviously, is it the toughest game on here? Maybe. Are they much worse than Arsenal? Probably no. I think Arsenal probably a better team, but going away to Newcastle's massive. I just think I'd rather play them now, as opposed to playing them in May. Imagine playing them in May. Let's just imagine now, for people complaining, that Newcastle away was Wolves away, and Arsenal at home was Brentford at home. Okay, then bang, 16 points. Great, we're top of the league. Come on. You know you've still got to go to Newcastle. And imagine if that was in December. Imagine if that was in May. And Arsenal, like, get these games out of the way now. And we'll come on to in a minute why that is important to get them out of the way now. And why we might be actually probably set up to get them out of the way now. Newcastle, tough game. Just get revenge. Citizen Cup final. Get revenge against them. And hopefully we're quite hungry to win that game more than any others. Arsenal, I mean, again, it's an early test. It could catch them cold, maybe. I do think with Arsenal, though, they're a side who haven't particularly been linked to many players, or they've not been very active in transfer window compared to Liverpool, compared to Man City, who are the two, you got to say, rivals going for the title next year, maybe with Chelsea. But Arsenal look to have brought in Zubimendi, maybe a striker as well. So they will be quite a similar side to the last year. And again, we're going to come on to that with Liverpool. We signed a lot of players. Could that be our problem in terms of gelling this team together? Arsenal should already be there. These players know each other like back of their hand, you know what I mean? So Arsenal will be a tough game. Burnley away. Again, like with respect to Burnley, if you want to win the league, you should be looking past Burnley as a side. If you want to win the league, I'm not being a big-headed prat. It's a fact. Just a fact. Look at Roy Keane. Look at Paul Scholes. Any of these serial winners didn't particularly look at these games and go, this could catch us out. They didn't. And actually, you know what I mean? When your guard's down, they do catch you out. You know what I mean? When Burnley caught us out in that, and what for them kind of games, they do catch you out these games. I will say that, in fairness. But on the whole, you've got to be focusing here on the St James's Park away and the Arsenal at home game, in fairness, with respect to Burnley. Then Everton at home, not on this graphic here. But it's one of them that, like, form doesn't really matter. I know there's no form you can really take into account here, 4 games. But even if you played Everton in game week 30, you shouldn't even really look at the previous games because form goes out the window. We've seen that last season. They got a result in the last minute. They still got a result, by the way. Take nothing away from that. But these games when it's like Man United, like you can't even look at Man United as a winnable game in the sense that maybe Tottenham might be, because Man United, everything goes out the window on the day, and it's on the day what you get, and it's like there's so much more on the line than just the 3 points. And the same with Everton, you could get in anything that day. Obviously, I'd expect to win. I'd expect to win the same way I would against Bournemouth and Burnley against Everton. You should be winning that game and getting 3 points at home against a side who, let's be real, are probably what they're predicted to come bottom 5, maybe bottom 6. I think I'd have them a touch higher. I think they're very underrated. And actually, they ended quite well last season, quite underratedly. Went up the ladder a tad. I'd probably say win. I mean, I would say win. A 2 or 3-1 for me. Easy start, in my opinion. Easier start than people are saying, I've got to say. There's loads of new players. Now, we'll talk about problems now, because there's loads of new players. Wirtz, Frimpong Kerkez, maybe a striker, maybe a centre-half, as illustrated, hopefully, on this thumbnail here. We could be heavy in the business, you know what I mean? Like Man City, like a lot of these teams who... Man City have a Club World Cup to try out. I've just watched Ryan Cherky today. Ryan has had a great game. We haven't got the luxury of that. We've got a pre-season tournament. Obviously, getting these players in early. Frimpong's already signed. Wirtz looks to be signed. And Kirk is not long after. Getting them in for the pre-season early on, unlike some teams do, is a bonus. Of course, you get a full pre-season with them. But this is just new bodies in the squad. New starters, I must just say. They're not subs to these players. If they come in, they'll likely start. Certainly these 3 players will start at most games, you'd like to think. So is that a heavy, in terms of transition? Are we bringing in a lot from a side who have just won the Premier League? This is no muggy team this, we just won the Premier League, and we're replacing 3 players, maybe more, maybe 4, already as starters, having them all come in at the same time. Is that a risk in terms of continuity? I'd probably say no. Maybe yeah at the start, and that is the risk. That's the problem with first 4 games in this Liverpool side. Maybe not last year, but this one. You got so many things changing. Even the assistant manager, I've got a vid on that, by the way, go and watch it. He's changed, but the only thing is, I would say, Wirtz, Frimpong have come from the same side. They're on a holiday together, for God's sake. They're on a sun lounger together. Not on the same sun lounger, but they're on holiday together. They're clearly pals. They come from the same league. Imagine if you were joining the Premier League and you could pick someone to join with you. You'd pick your best pal, wouldn't you? And they've both got that in terms of transition. That should ease them into it. And I think the Bundesliga to Prem, I see many similarities as to why both should hit the ground running, or probably more likely to than joining from any other league, I would say. I look at Kerkez. He's joining a side who plays similar aggressive football, certainly on the press. I think he was second behind, I've got a video on this, second behind Gvardiol last year for highest left-back up the pitch, obviously for Man City, for Bournemouth. So that transition from going from that side to this side is going to be fine. Premier League to Premier League, he's proven he's done it before. He knows Szoboszlai very well. He's captain of his national side. I think they're pals as well. I assume they're pals. Imagine if he hated Szoboszlai. That'd be really awkward, wouldn't it? But he's, you know what I mean? The transition there's going to be ideal, I think. And then these other players, I don't know who we're going to sign. Maybe a striker, maybe someone else. But do you get my point? There's a lot of players here, and maybe they might need time to click the pressing, like the rotations. Obviously, the great footballers on the ball, I've no doubts we're going to be okay. But maybe it is just off the ball, and these kind of pressing patterns might struggle next season. Certainly at the start, until when we get in the groove of things. So that's the big problem for me. It's not ideal to throw them into 2, obviously, huge games. Real Madrid have just scored. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Slot system takes time, especially for fullbacks in the front 4, again, off the ball. That pressing system might be a tough one to get grips of. But I do think Núñez, in fairness, adapted very well. I do think Diaz actually adapted very, very well. So that's a positive. These games come before the squad has really settled. Again, only a pre-season to go with. Granted, they've played the full thing. They've not joined halfway through pre-season, which is a massive bonus. I'm just going to take a sip of this because my hay fever is terrible. It's so bad. And your throat goes so dry and oh my word. I'm still getting vids out though, so leave a like, please. Arsenal and Newcastle early, which means no fatigue, no winter pressure. If you're getting games back to back to back in the week, 3 times a week in multiple comps, going on all fronts, the last thing you want is to be going to Newcastle away and Arsenal at home. Get these games done early on. I'm trying to look on the positive angle from this. A lot of people looking at negatives. Oh, we're gonna be ninth at the start of the year. So what? As long as we finish first, who cares if we're ninth at the start for the first 4 weeks? Come on. We could build momentum fast with 3+ wins, and I think we could get 3+ wins, which causes that momentum to kind of hopefully spiral. And it's easier to iron out issues when the schedule's not packed. Do you know what I mean? So you've got a game every week here in August, obviously. So I think there's a Carabao Cup game. Is that in the 3rd week or 4th week as well? But you've got a game every week. Players should be fresh. There's no excuses. If you want in which Arne Slot does to see these players and analyse them and work out what's going on. That first 3 or 4 game period is a good time to work out and iron out all these mistakes. It's a good time to see players going at 100% with no excuse of, I had the Champions League, so I only play 70 minutes on the week. No, these players should be given everything first week after a full pre-season with no Club World Cup, maybe tiring them out. You could look at it on that angle as well. So that's a key point. And Slot gets a real look at who fits, where in real games, not just pre-season, played at, you could say, 50% intensity, you know what I mean? So, and by the way, what better way to test a player or throw a player into, like a Wirtz, like a Frimpong, into league than Newcastle away, Arsenal at home? If they succeed there, you know you're onto a winner with these players. If they can do it there, they can do it anywhere. Let me know your thoughts. I'm really interested to hear what you have to say. I'm in Venice actually for the next couple of days, so I'm going to pre-record a vid to come out not tomorrow but the day after. I hope that's fine. If it's not, then bugger off. No, don't. Please don't. Please don't. So this is kind of my full-time job now. So if you could leave a like, that'd be massive. Helps me out massively. I must just stress, my full-time job is not sitting on a live stream talking to you for 12 minutes a day. There are other streams of income keeping me afloat. But leaving a like does go a long way. And the support recently has been mad. So thank you very much for that. This is kind of my angle of doing it. I don't want to be fake or be something I'm not. I'm just saying what I'm thinking all the time. Thanks for watching. See you later. Have a good day.